Hi, welcome to Money Matters TV. My name's Patty. I am your host today, and my co-host is Jim DiLorenzo from Jim DiLorenzo Public Relations. I always like saying the name of your company.
Thank you, Patty.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's great to see you again.
It's good to see you.
Nice. I always enjoy being on the set with you here.
Yeah. I know we have a really great show today, one I'm dying to get to our guest and talk about issues that are really critical, I think, to everybody at this point.
Well, that raises something in my mind too. I wanted to talk to you if I could. I just saw where you were recently selected as one of the 100 fastest growing companies in Philadelphia with the Wharton Small Business Development Center and the Entrepreneurs Forum. Mm-hmm. So tell me about how Studio X is doing and what you're anticipating now that you're one of the 100 fastest growing companies in Philadelphia.
It's pretty exciting. I was applying for something called Athena PowerLink, where you get an advisory board to help your company scale. And in that process, you have to put all your financials down. And when you're in the weeds and doing your job every day, you're not thinking about your financials.
Sure, you're not the tunnel vision, and you're not really paying attention to that dollar amount. Exactly.
And our accountant every year gives us a year-over-year report, so we know how we're doing. But I don't look at it in September. So when I was filling this thing out, I realized, oh my God, we've had like 60% year-over-year growth, and I applied for the program, and I was super excited when we found out we won. And it hasn't completely settled in yet, and pretty soon we're going to find out where we rank. And I just hope that I'm, fingers crossed, not number 99 or 100. Well,
you know what? Even so, you're still in that 100.
Yeah. So here we are. We won. We haven't even put it on our website because we've been so slammed with work.
Sure.
We put it on some social media, but your expertise is PR. How do you go about getting more press around it?
Well, I hate to use the word exploit, but you need to exploit it. Mm-hmm. You need to take advantage of it. And in your situation, as you said, you're busy doing the work. You're the cobbler that can't fix his own shoes.
That's right.
So in that instance, you want to take advantage of the time that you've spent in building the company and the place that you're at right now to kind of blow your own horn. Tell the world, hey, we're number 7, or we're number 99. Whatever it might be. You're still, Studio X has been named one of the 100 fastest growing companies in Philadelphia. That's your headline.
Right.
And you can fill in the blank about what number you actually ranked later, but take advantage of that opportunity, because that's a free element of your storytelling. Mm-hmm. And your company story and your personal business story. So now is the time to strike with that and get the word out there as many places as you can. So you want to do a press release that you can have on your website, mm-hmm. and you want to have the logo up on your website when you get the file from the organizers, and take advantage of the fact that you have won this award, and this is a moment to be proud of, and tell everybody about it. Don't hide your light under a basket, as some would say.
Right.
So the important thing is to toot your own horn a little bit, and sometimes we all need a little help tooting our own horn, because that's not necessarily how we are as people. We're humble, and we're self-sufficient, and we try to do our work and not call attention to ourselves. But in a situation like this, you deserve a chance to call attention to yourself.
Thanks. I always wonder, how many times can you say it before it's old news? And my brother said this to me, not about announcing and bragging about winning an award, but he said, you have to explain, explain, explain. And when you think you're done explaining, you haven't even started.
Right. Explain again.
Yeah. Which was crazy to me.
But there is a lot of truth to that, because if you're not saying it, no one else is going to say it. Mm-hmm. You need to bring it up. You need to mention it, because in the way our fractured media and fractured public discourse is right now, it's on to the next thing. Mm-hmm. It's on to the next story. It's on to the next element. It's on to the next tweet. So everything is quick, quick, quick. So in order to keep the attention focused on what you're trying to say, you have to repeat yourself or enhance your message a little bit more.
Okay. All right. That's good advice. I might pick your brain a little bit later.
I would be happy to have my brain picked.
Good.
What's left of it.
So I have a really interesting question. I'm excited to hear your response, especially in this news of everyone saying it's fake news, fake media. So Robin Jackson from Philadelphia asks, how do you ensure trust in public relations?
Good question, Robin. It's kind of a big question. And I was talking with a colleague earlier today about trust in general. Mm-hmm. How do you ensure trust in public relations? Well, one of the first things you need to do is trust yourself. So if I'm out there, I want to be honest and open with people that I talk to. So I want to have that level of trust in myself to be able to do the job and tell the story, find the story and tell it to the world. And then I want my clients to trust in me that I will understand their business and that I will go out there and tell their story and get the attention that they deserve fairly and honestly. And then I'm relying on my clients to be fair and honest with me and with the media, if anyone is asking them about their story, that they're telling the truth and that they're being open and honest.
It's like when your accountant makes you check a box that says that you're being honest when you give them your numbers.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. I don't have anybody checking off boxes, thank God. Not yet anyway. But you do want to have that level of trust and awareness of each other and the honest and open exchange of ideas. And a lot of that can be, we talked about the financials earlier in this conversation. You might have a client that doesn't want to talk about their financials. So you make sure that you're not going out there telling people, oh, they made this much money this year, and then when they get a chance to talk to a reporter, well, I'm not going to talk about that.
Right.
So trust between the public relations professional and the client, and then trust between the public relations professional and the media. So I tend to pitch to media that I know, like, and trust. The book, The Go-Giver, Know, Like, Trust, to establish credibility. And I know certain reporters, certain producers, certain editors, and I trust them. So I'm hoping that they feel the same way towards me.
That's fantastic.
So how do I ensure trust in public relations? I try to ensure trust in myself, my clients, the media that I'm dealing with, and try to be as honest and open as I can be without violating any laws or agreements, and
that sounds
just
great.
Being very careful about it.
Wonderful. So I'm sure that you have your own questions. If you have them, here's how to send them in.
You can have your questions answered on Money Matters. Please go to our website, money-matterstv.com. On our homepage, click on the banner on the right that says Send Us Your Questions. While you're on our website, you can find information about our host and guests, as well as show notes and links about this show and past shows. Money Matters is also available as a podcast on iTunes and Stitcher, so you can listen to Money Matters while you're on the go. That website address, again, is money, M-O-N-E-Y, -matters, M-A-T-T-E-R-S, TV.com.
So if you have a parent that's aging, a loved one that's getting a little older, this guest is for you. I know I'm going to monopolize her. Cheryl Peltekis from Home Care Sales. You're a nurse, right?
I am, absolutely. I'm a registered nurse.
Yeah. So
been a nurse for a long time in Philadelphia here.
Tell us about your company.
Sure. So I started out at the age of 26. I opened up a home health agency here in the Philadelphia market, and then followed 2 years later by opening up a private duty company. And in 2008, opened up my first hospice company.
Wow.
And that was all after winning a scholarship from Pennsylvania Hospital to actually attend nursing school.
What made you do it?
I grew up in a home where my mom and dad were full-time caregivers. And at a very young age, probably at around 10, I was already changing diapers or helping people with feeding or making sure that somebody was able to shower without falling. And just growing up in that type of environment kind of put me on the path of becoming a nurse. And I just knew that I also wanted to help with patients that were going to actually wanting to stay in their home. Because if you ask anybody, they don't want to write their death script to include ending their life in a nursing home,
right.
Typically.
Mm-hmm.
And the passion that you have for this, how did you, you started at a young age, but how do you say to yourself, I'm 26, I want to do this, I want to do this, and you keep doing it?
So I'm incredibly motivated by the lack of understanding about what home health and home care and hospice services actually are out there in the world today. And I think that there's a big void in that the doctors and the discharge planners, the social workers, which really want to just help humans, are just not really 100% educated on what we can do in home health or hospice or in home care to keep a patient home. And I think that's where my motivation lies, is that I'm just truly driven to, I want to grab every doctor and shake them a little bit and say, hey, did you know that we're here? Do you know what makes a patient qualify for services?
So how do you know when someone needs services in their home?
So I think it all starts with some kind of pretty easy indicators where you just start to maybe see that your loved one is maybe not taking such great care of themselves. Maybe their personal hygiene or their clothing looks more soiled. Maybe you see that the house is not being maintained as well as it used to be, or that they may have had several falls as evidenced by a bruise that you see somewhere. I think that there are a lot of indicators, as well as if maybe they've had a car accident. That's starting to show you that your age one may be at a place where they're starting to need some assistance in their home. One of the times of the years is coming up right now with Thanksgiving and Christmas. Our phones will ring off the hook because a loved one will come and visit their family member that they may not have seen since last year at the holidays, and they're just so shocked by the stark contrast from last year. Looking at a loved one and seeing somebody that lost 30 or 40 pounds, or walking in to find mom or dad with a large bruise on their face as a result of them having a fall. And they weren't even aware that these things may have been happening.
Is it a difficult, I know from my own experiences, there are difficult conversations to have with your elders. In my particular case, it was my father, then my aunt, and my mother, in some rapid succession. And it was difficult to have the conversations with them, but it was also difficult to have the conversations with their doctors. I would go into the doctors with them, and I would ask the doctor a question, and my mother might say, oh, don't ask that. And the doctor would say, well, I really don't know. And then you're kind of at a loss.
Yeah, I think that we're under this false belief that the doctors know everything. And you may be shocked to learn this, but the physicians really don't get any training on what is available in the home care area. Who pays for home care services? What does it mean to be eligible for home health?
What does it mean? Jump right into it.
So home care is basically one of those services that until recently, with the passing of the Chronic Care Act from President Trump, for the first time ever in 2019, we are actually going to have in-home services be reimbursed under the Medicare Advantage plans, which is where if a person opts, right now you can have traditional Medicare, which would give you Part A to cover hospitalizations, then you can buy for Part B a copay to cover for the doctor's offices, or you can opt to have a Part C, which is a Medicare Advantage plan. And they are particularly HMOs or PPOs, they're all those types of plans. And under the Medicare Part C, now in-home care is going to be one of the services that they are going to reimburse for. So it's like an eye-opening event where the federal government has realized that the least costly care, which is being provided now, personal care for a patient in their home, is also going to be giving a patient, most likely, the highest reward. Sure. So why would we not want to fund that?
And isn't it less expensive?
Home.
Yeah, and less expensive for the government is what I understand.
Absolutely. And ultimately, it's really what a patient desires. Nobody writes their death script to include, I want to die in a nursing home.
So how do you, I think the biggest battle with, my own mom is she does need someone to visit her. And I was telling you before the show started that my brother and I are talking about tricking her into the idea of she's helping someone. So how do you communicate that to an older parent?
I think it is really hard, but I think that you've got to find out by maybe asking them, by going through a life review briefly with your loved one, kind of reminiscing, like, tell me about things that the happiest days of your life. What were they doing? What were you tell me about your high school graduations. Do you remember going to a dance? Do you remember something fond in your life? And maybe asking, hey, well, how would you enjoy a companion coming in and maybe getting those old photo albums out and making a life review book with you?
Oh, that's a good idea.
So I think when you start to make it that you're offering them an alternative activity or a way that they are going to have and feel a sense of value with spending time, there's nothing more attractive than that for a human.
So instead of them feeling like somebody's coming to babysit them, they're coming to
They're
help them
coming
do
to have
fun
an
things.
end result, and it could even be a legacy planning. Like for a lot of somebody like your mom, I know that you shared with me that she was a nurse.
Yeah.
She's got great stories.
Yeah, she
You know,
does.
why not leave some of those little stories behind that maybe later on you might make a collection of them and turn them into a book.
And the great thing is she'll forget she told you those stories, so she'll tell you all over again.
And she could find great reward in doing that.
Yeah.
You know, she would feel, like you mentioned, one of the things that she loved was giving.
Yeah.
Everybody loves to give. I mean, we're put on this planet to be valuable producing humans. And if we can give that sense back to a senior, wow, that's a beautiful gift to give somebody.
So I have one more question.
Well, I have,
Yeah.
building off that, how do you find, how do you connect someone like Patty or myself? We have these concerns, and we have the plans that are eligible now that we can work with. How do you find the right
So
professional?
Medicare.gov is a great resource. It has the ability where you can look up a home health provider company. A lot of the home health companies that are certified by Medicare will also have a private duty component. So at least you can see their star rating, because we do have a star rating system.
Well, you're
1 through
5-star,
5.
right?
We are. We do vary between 4.5 and 5 every time that they update the quarter. It depends. There's multiple facets that come into the star rating. It's outcomes clinically for if a patient was able to become independent with taking their meds, did their wounds heal, how did they improve with ambulating, but there's also outcomes about patient satisfaction. So there's, you know, that's a perfect area that if you want to research for a loved one, go to Medicare.gov. You can also look up Joint Commissions of Accreditation. The acronym is JCAHO, and JCAHO is one of those organizations where companies will opt to have a Joint Commission accreditation because it gives them like another seal of good housekeeping, and it's called the Golden Seal of Approval. And that's something that agencies actually will pay for the Joint Commission to come out and do an audit to make sure that they are performing at the highest level of infection control, of socialization, of training their staff. So you want to look for those types of resources that are available out there.
What about personality fit? Do you have this
So that's
person
important.
spending time with your parent?
Absolutely. I would always suggest that you ask for somebody to come in and be willing to give a face-to-face interview
So you would
And
send
meet and
3
greet.
to 4 people out
if necessary.
till
if the
we're like,
first
we
one,
like somebody?
Well, obviously, I think the first conversation that we have with you would help us to try to go through our checklist and find the optimal person. But I think that a lot of times when a nurse usually comes out to the home and does the initial assessment, nurses are really good. You know, think about how quick
They
they
are.
can get in a home and have somebody naked in 5 minutes, right? I mean, that's what ends up happening because we have to check their sacrum. We have to make sure they have no bed sores or anything like that going on. Nurses are really good at building a plan of care and finding the right fit typically for patients. But at any time, if your family member is unhappy with a caregiver in the home, reach back out to that organization and ask to have that caregiver changed.
So I know another concern people have, and not about your organization, but they're always worried somebody's going to come in and go through their mom or their dad's drawers
Yeah.
and steal stuff. So you guys background check and vet everybody that's working for you?
Absolutely, you have to. There's state laws that are in place that make us have to do criminal checks, as well as if somebody's from out of state, FBI screenings, as well as checking their previous work experience to make sure that there's nothing wrong in their background check. But I will tell you, I think that there's also another component. Every organization will have a different philosophy with orientation or with hiring. We happen to adopt a philosophy called the fish philosophy. It's from that Seattle fish market. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it,
I have.
where they throw fish all over. So we basically have taken on this this philosophy at our organization where we want to hire people that match our passion. You know, we offer our caregiver support program. You can come in and become a caregiver. We will teach you, put you through the 90-hour course that we offer, and make you go out in the field and actually work with another companion. But the only way that you're going to actually work for us full-time is after you go through that process, we're going to see you hands-on. We're going to know if you're somebody that we want to send to our mom or to our grandmom. And for me, that's a really high standard. When I lost my mom, it was devastating to me, and it personally made me even more inspired to make sure that every caregiver that we put in your home is going to be at the higher standard. I honestly believe that a lot of home health companies are like me. At least in my mind, I hope that they are, because I think it's critical to make sure that everybody that we send out, these seniors can be very vulnerable.
Yes.
And that's the scary part. You know, we want to make sure that we've got a good feel. We do have laws in place that require a 30-day supervision. So a nurse has to go into the home and do an eyeball and make sure that everything's happening in the home the way that that it's supposed to be. We also have an eligibility verification system so that we can do GPS checking. We know when an aide is actually in the home and when an aide leaves, so that we at least are safeguarded enough to know, God, is our staff really showing up for work, right? And are they making sure that they're there?
There's some accountability and there's some...
Yeah, and I think the first 5 days when you start to allow a caregiver to come into your home, really the due diligence lies not just on the agency, but even yourself as a family member to constantly do a couple of those, I call them touch point checks.
Sure.
You know, reach out and make sure that your mom or your loved one is feeling that they're satisfied with the services.
That's really good to know about.
Is it hard for families? Sometimes there's difference of opinion between the children.
Oh yeah.
Brothers and sisters have arguments about
Yes.
what do we do?
I recently was in a home in South Philly with 17 children.
Oh my gosh.
And we were having a conversation about hospice services. And out of the 17 children, we ended up we left it at the end of the day with a vote. You know, who wanted mom to go on hospice and who did not. Ultimately, mom was the tie-breaking vote. Mom said, I'm going on hospice. She was 89 years old. She had a tumor in her brain. She no longer wanted to have chemo and radiation. She had reached her maximum threshold of tolerating any more treatment. And she felt that the treatment was making her more ill than the benefits that she was receiving.
Heartbreaking.
It is. And of course, some of the children don't want her to give up, right? But they also have to be comforted in the choice of knowing that mom ultimately is the one feeling what she's feeling.
Right.
And we've got to be respectful for that. So hopefully with our social work team and with our spiritual counselors that get involved in the plan of care, we can help that family get to peace.
And you do have that capability?
Absolutely.
Bring
All
those
of that
people?
is part of the hospice team.
Oh, wonderful.
So I know you're not a finance person, but you talk to us about reverse mortgages. I know that's a tempting thing for people to
It is.
do.
Yeah. So they have to have 40% of the equity left in their home in order to be eligible for a reverse mortgage. But then they can continue to live into their home until they pass.
Are they good programs?
You know, I hate to give an opinion on whether they are good or not. I think that it's good if it fits your family's plan of care. If ultimately you know that your family member needs help, they can't pay for the services or their services are not eligible for reimbursement, maybe it's the only option that becomes available. There's so many other resources though, and I think that you've got to make sure that you've got somebody that understands all of the resources that are available. Maybe get a geriatric care manager, maybe speak with somebody from the federal government at medicare.gov, but you've got to find a resource that you can feel that you can trust, who will take you through all of the different options. You know, maybe it's better for you to go to adult daycare. Maybe it's better for you to go into assisted living. Maybe it is better to go into a facility. It's a matter of looking at all of the options that are out there. You know, for one of my grandmothers, she was very with it. My mom passed away and my grandmother was still living. She needed some assistance with activities of daily living, as well as like helping her with her checkbook and shopping and things like that. But she did not want to go into a skilled nursing facility or wanting to come and live with me or my sister when my mother had passed. So we put her in assisted living, and it was the best thing we could have done for her. You know, I would go and pick her up, and she'd say, oh no, I have bingo at 5. I'm not going anywhere.
I had
So
a
the
client
activities
that
were
was
good.
assisted living, and it was amazing. I wanted to move in.
Some of them are great, but on the flip side, right, think about if you are somebody that is very ethnic. Like my in-laws are from Greece, and they would be miserable to lose their food.
Yeah.
Miserable. That would be really like, for my father-in-law, if somebody was not making him his Greek food, he would probably lose a lot of weight really quick. He would not thrive in that environment.
Oh my
Yeah, my
gosh.
mom's from the Middle East, so yeah, unless she had a kitchen and could cook her
Do you
own
know what I
food.
mean? Like that sometimes is very important. Or
Sure.
if somebody has had a pet their whole life. I mean, some people will not leave their pets, and I don't blame them. And there's some facilities that if you have a pet, you can't bring them.
That's hard. That'll kill you, that alone.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The heartbreak.
And the heartbreak of that, and also the independence. There is my mother-in-law is in assisted living right now, and she's very, I hate to use the phrase, it's cliched in our family, but feisty and independent, and she hates it. She hates it, but at the same time, we all made the decision together. Her son, her 2 daughters, and her made the decision. And there really is no going back after something like that, because you need that care.
It's
you need
really,
that attention.
it's very, very hard. It really is. And I think that ultimately, you've got to take all the things into consideration about how safe is that loved one
Right.
to be in their home alone.
And that was the big consideration for us, for her.
I
my
will
in-laws.
tell you, I just came back actually from a conference that was out in Las Vegas, and one of the things I got to see was all of the incredible technologies that are coming out to support seniors to live in their home. I mean, now we have all these devices, the Google device, the Alexa device. They all have apps that we can get, that we can take a peek in our parents' house to see what they're doing right now. And did mom make a sound yet in the kitchen? Has pills been taken out of the pill box? Because
Oh, it's
it
great.
measures the weight of the
Right.
medication containers.
amazing.
I mean, the technology that is there to support our seniors in their home is really coming out. And the technology for the physicians to even do in-home video assessments. So I think that we've got great opportunities lying ahead of us for healthcare for seniors. And I just think that there's not enough of us advocating for the educational component. I think that there's a lot of seniors that don't realize there's a VA benefit, which actually allows the Veterans Association to pay for up to $2,000 a month for a loved one to receive in-home care with the veterans benefit. And it can be either for the vet or his family member.
That's amazing.
Wow.
I know we're running out of time. I have one more question to ask
Sure.
you. Caregiver support, and keep it brief. How do people find support groups?
So typically at any of the long-term care facilities, they may have offering a caregiver support class right at those facilities. You may also be able to find something at any of your religious organizations.
Okay,
Just Google it. It's Ask the Google.
that's the Google. That's what I say.
Now, if people wanted more information or wanted to contact you, how would they reach out to you?
Sure. My email is Cheryl, CHERYL, @homecaresales.com.
And that's your website as well?
Yep, Home Care Sales is one of my websites. My Philadelphia website for my company that I own here is called Immediate Home Care and Hospice.
That's fantastic. Thank you for joining us today.
I appreciate it, Patty.
So informative. I know
Thank
we
you
both
very
Thank
enjoyed
you
it.
very much. Thank you.
So next week, if you have time, join us for Zev Sunleaf, who is the VP of Technology for Pediatric Research. Thank you for joining us today.